Self-Reliant Leadership Crucible is designed for executives and veterans to take their leadership abilities to new levels. One of the goals of this trip was a climb of Aneroid Mountain, the intensity of which maps to today's challenging business climate. So we've got 13 people out here, 5 women, 7 men, and myself. 5 of the people that are on this expedition are veterans of the U.S. military. We've got people that are from West Point. We've got people from Special Operations Community, executives from Rhode Island, from Western Union and Denver, all the way up into Seattle.
Cheryl, you've got so much weight in there. I'm taking out all the water.
Jan talked to us about challenging assumptions during this crucible. I thought that I would set a goal for myself of challenging my own assumptions about my leadership style. I feel like I've been in a little bit of a rut lately and wanted to get back in touch with inspirational leadership.
You know, I lead a pretty big team now, but I've actually never had any leadership training, and I really thought this would be one way to start building that skill set. And then on top of that, I just thought it sounded like a lot of fun.
I was looking forward to meeting new people and kind of understanding what makes leaders successful outside of the military. And then how can I take those traits and probably put it in my tool bag for when I'm trying to lead a team in the future.
I'm just transitioning out of the military, so kind of gaining knowledge of people who've been in the corporate world and see how their leadership tactics work for them and how I can take what I've learned through being in the military for 10 years and change an approach, adapt what I can.
For me, I wanted to understand the thoughts and concepts from other business executives.
You know, sometimes you just get so focused in on what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, you forget to take time to think about what you're doing as a leader.
I was just hoping to get those different experiences from people that don't do what I do. You know, one of the cool things about this is that there were 5 women on the crew, including you.
I tend to be quieter, and whenever I have something to share, other people jump in and start talking too, and I can get talked over. For me, it's just trying to be more proactive in sharing and speaking up and trying to have an active voice.
We want people to be selfless. A big part of this experience is not about yourself, it's about helping other people. We want people to think about how they are making a difference in the world, their heroic aspirations, and we're asking them to push themselves out of their comfort zone and to be a bit adventurous. Today's objective is about leadership and learning what makes for a high-performing team. We designed a problem set where teams would have to work together to build an emergency shelter.
Basically deal, with a hypothetical emergency situation where we were going to have to stay in place for 4 days and plan around that by building a shelter. Through that process, also ask ourselves what makes a team highly effective.
You know, Jan had picked me to be one of the leaders.
You can tell from the start, Laura is a quiet leader, so I was interested to see how she would lead a team of different personality types.
So they're thinking we do a lean-to for now and then maybe prop up the ceiling.
You think about forming new teams at work. Sometimes you have complete strangers that are getting together and they're going to have a shared vision or goal. They're going to have to deliver something as a group.
You guys remember I'm short.
Okay. What we wanted to do today was use survival as an avenue to talk about leadership.
Laura did a fantastic job leading the team. She was exactly the type of leader we needed.
We talked about what makes a high-performing team, and we all agreed that communication is a big part of it, but also bringing the fun. Okay. Now imagine our gazebo with an arch behind us that overlooks our property.
That is delightful. I want everyone to feel like they've provided a valuable contribution to the group and that they're a valuable team member.
I think there's a little secret sauce to what's happening out here, though, too, is that no task is beneath a person.
We're making it comfortable. When we sleep in here, we don't have rocks sticking in
I
there.
see a real sense of servant leadership out here, and everybody just digs in and does whatever needs to be done. And I think that's really crucial to a high-performing team as well.
Bam!
I think one reason why back at work that teams don't perform as well as they should or could is because the mission's not clear.
Cheryl! You gotta see if we all fit.
We all got together under the shelter to see the progress we made.
We fit!
Went around and asked each person, what do you think? Do you have any other suggestions? I've been trying to find a way to pull in and engage the folks that are quieter, because I know what that's like, because I tend to be that way too.
Who has the wine glasses?
You were supposed to carry the wine glasses.
That night at dinner, I wanted to continue the conversation about what makes a high-performing team and one of its most important aspects. One other question I've got for you guys. How come diversity hasn't come up?
It's not an issue. I think we all see each other as one.
So we asked each other, have we changed our own behaviors out here, or are we being who we are authentically?
We're so internally focused also on our mission and the collective we that I don't know that whether we're man or woman, it seems to matter.
We have a very diverse workforce on many different levels. I work for a woman. I never gave it a second thought.
Performance speaks one language.
Right.
When you have a no-fail environment that you're used to working in, and the top performers were coming to, were volunteering to work for you, you didn't have to kind of worry about all that other side.
Is this different out here than in the work world?
There's just some unfortunate biases out there in the world, and we didn't necessarily create them, but then we're having to respond to it.
What I really found that was amazing here, it kind of goes to show that culture trumps everything. When you create a culture that has a high degree of inclusiveness, people can feel natural, and it never becomes about the differences. It's about what makes us the same.
A great workplace does enable people to be who they are authentically.
One of my biggest complaints about women in the workforce is that they're not the same person in the office as they are at home.
And we were doing so well. Does that matter?
It does, because she's not as authentic.
How do you know?
You watch social interactions when they're outside of the workplace. It's a different interaction.
People do have those opinions, and it's important to get those opinions out. And that's part of being in a high-performing team, is you have a safe environment for people to speak what they're feeling, and then on the flip side, team members to really talk through it with them.
Society or whatever makes women think they have to project a certain persona in the workplace.
All the women are rolling their eyes.
Yeah. Well,
Even though we reacted strongly to it, I think that was, it was great to have a point and counterpoint conversation about that, because if you can't have conversations like that, then we never move forward.
The reason diversity came up today is because their team was so different than ours, and the way they ran their team. And I said, well, was it because you had more women on your team?
I was on point to come up with the draft of the teams, and I was looking at how can we structure these teams so that we've got groups of people that hadn't worked together or don't know each other as well. But I didn't give thought to the gender mix. I just didn't think about it as I was forming the groups. I was looking at other things.
She was actually choosing a diversity of experiences and a diversity of thought. And actually the communication of why you're doing things and the intention behind it is how you create the right culture. And if I was in a company that explained, oh, here's how we put this team together, and I had that explanation, I would be right on board.
We all come from different places, we all have different experiences, but that is what a high-performing team is. We take those different experiences and move forward for the main overall goal.